Okay, welcome to a class on some vocabulary that might be useful for part one of the speaking. And I say might be useful because it's difficult to predict what kind of questions you will get in the speaking. But in part one, it's an introduction. And so usually, most of the time you get questions about your family, your work, your hometown. If you're a student and you don't work, you'll get questions about study, and you'll get questions about hobbies. And so that's already telling you that you want to study at least one of these two topics for part one, work or study. And if you're a worker, probably best to focus on work. If you're a student, probably best to focus on study. But you really need to get some good vocabulary to discuss these introductory topics, and discuss, to tell the examiner who you are, what you're interested in and what you do. Yeah, because that's what they're going to ask you about in part one of the speaking. And so I really recommend that you learn some good words, some impressive vocabulary for discussing these 5 topics. Now, I already have a vocabulary course which is advanced, so it's perfect for IELTS students. It's longer than 20 hours, and I want you to use that for learning new IELTS vocabulary, because I can't fit all of that into my IELTS course. I also have a grammar course, by the way. If you want to study for IELTS, that's perfect for IELTS grammar. But I still wanted to introduce you to some terms just so that you can see what you really need to succeed in the speaking part one. And so for family, you can talk about a close-knit family, and that's a good collocation. That's what we're looking for in the writing and in the speaking. You ought to be using good collocations, and by good, I mean collocations that are familiar to natives. Yeah, collocations, which means groups of words that you often find together. So you often see close-knit family, you often see dysfunctional family. Yeah, they're 2 different ways, very different, of describing a family. And so do learn as many collocations as possible. They will really help you in the speaking and the writing. So a close-knit family is a family that's very close together. A dysfunctional family is a family with problems, often psychological problems or something like that. And so if you want to say something negative perhaps about your family, you might use that adjective. But close-knit family, you can also say close-knit community. So this is a good adjective that works with community and family, and is perhaps a good one to put into your speaking. Now, when you're talking about your family, you might want to give